part 7. Shalom unto you. 2 Bible verses. Well, two Bible verses that resonate and are a constant loop in a room of constant thoughts that, like, I literally have chambers within my brain that think on different topics. It's just how my brain has always functioned. And so 2 of them are, paraphrasing one, those who forget their past are destined to repeat it. And the other one is, it is the glory of God to conceal a word. The Hebrew is davar, dalet, vav, resh, and can also be interpreted matter, thing. So word is simply one of multiple interpretations of what God is actually saying. It is the glory of God to conceal a word, matter, or thing, and it is the duty of his children, the kings and queens of God, to search out a word, matter, or thing. Now, I also want to say here, we have been brought up historically that women are less than men to God, but the actual history does not teach that at all. God doesn't have favorites, all right? He loves us all equally. I mean, we're all his children, unless, anyway, we're not going to go there. We're all his children. If you are a descendant of Noah, then you are a child of God. Period. End of subject. And then, so whenever anyone tries to say that only Isaac's lineage is to be, only Isaac's lineage is to count for anything, they're not really being honest about what the Word of God says, or they don't know it, or they're really not framing it from God's perspective. Because Abraham's seed, okay, he had a child with Hagar, he had a child with Sarah, and then he had multiple children with Keturah. And when you start looking at where Moses' father-in-law came from, he came from Keturah. And for me personally, Qatar or Qatar and Keturah sound a lot alike. So just think on that. So in part 6, we started going through the dissertation of the Heritage Foundation. So the Heritage Foundation, President Kevin Roberts, we were discussing his dissertation. But I think I want to go ahead and put this out there, and I'll put some screenshots. We also need to discuss the Freedman papers and the Freedman Savings and Trust Company that was established in 1865. Because I have a feeling that's going to be very important to what's going on. Property, personhood, and the state. I'm reading from the ChatGPT dissertation summary. The dissertation underscores how slave owners' records, registers, memoranda are simultaneously sources of power and sources of evidence for kinship. As a political legal analyst, the registers can be read as administrative law documents. Now, this is interesting because researching my own ancestry and knowing what's been done with the 23andMe stuff, there's a congressional oversight here, or it's the guy that I really like how he questions people, Senator Josh Hawley. And then if you think about how we're looking at these bloodlines things with Epstein and Hillary Clinton and Podesta, and just there's Melungeons, Abraham Lincoln, the tie that binds, triracial. There's a video that I found where a group of family members with my last name Townsend fought legally to have his mulatto or Melungeon children, because he had multiple wives, recognized legally to be heirs to his vast estate. If anyone's interested, I can share the link to that. So back to the dissertation. So administrative law documents that inadvertently preserve community information for later legal and cultural claims, i.e. the Freedmen's Bureau claims post-war. The Massey registers are a clear example. Documents produced to manage property become the archival record proving kinship that freed people relied upon. So how would you steal this from them? Like, if you were a bad guy, how would you do that? Because I think that's what's been done. So we got to figure out how they did it, right? Nancy Drew, the Hardy Boys were on the case. Anywho, implication for modern governance debates. If one maps Roberts' findings onto contemporary debates about family policy, note two tensions: the heterogeneity of family forms, extended versus nuclear, makes one-size policy prescriptions hazardous. State policy, laws, taxation, welfare, shapes which family forms can survive. Contemporary policy initiatives, Project 2025, that assert prescriptive family models or change administrative structures could have consequential effects in socially embedded kin networks. So interesting. Melungeons, Appalachian communities, and regional residents. The dissertation focuses on Virginia, including Nelson County and the Central Appalachian borderlands. That broad geography overlaps historically with areas later associated with Melungeon communities, triracial isolates of the Central Appalachians. Melungeon studies show admixture of European, African, and indigenous ancestry. I'm smiling because my youngest daughter, the one with the Melungeon bump, has all of those. She did a DNA test. The state of Florida took my DNA when I took a charge for my ex, but they don't willingly give it up. Fun fact. He was going to do 3 years in prison because he was sitting on a suspended sentence. I was already looking at like 120 days because I had a bunch of driving on suspended and a child support hold. And so I was just like, there's no sense in both of us being in jail. It's not fruitful. So I just took it. Some people may think that's ridiculous. I just think that's like loyalty has no amount. Fun fact. Pause again. So Roberts' work on kinship networks in Virginia is relevant background for any exploration of Melungeon family structures and identity politics. Roberts' thesis provides a historical reminder that family forms are resilient but shaped by law and policy. That ties into the LGBTQ, you can be a cat, a furry, or whatever argument that's being made by people who don't want to say men are men and women are women. They will misread historical realities in many communities that used extended kin as economic and protective institutions. Part 8 coming up. Shalom.